Alright, so we are going to try and do a review on this plant right here. And this is called the Hamburg parsley. Yes, it's parsley, but it's not grown for the leaves, though you can eat the leaves. I'll taste one right now. Not bad. Tastes a little like parsley. This parsley is grown for its root. Now, I meant to do a review on this earlier. It's just I've been really busy trying to get everything here ready for planting, and it's a lot of work, and I don't have time to focus on too much on videos, but I'm trying to get some of these videos out anyway. And this plant is eventually going to have to go because it gets very big and it just gets enormous. So this plant is known for its root, and we're going to pull this out and we're going to take a look at that root, and then we are going to try and taste test that root. So we'll see if there's anything left of it, because when this plant gets real big, this root disappears. So it looks like we got enough of the root on there, believe it or not. It looks like it's big enough. What I'll do is I'll spray this down and clean it for you, and we'll take a better look at what the root looks like. I'll remove all these small hairs off it, try to leave the bigger roots so you can see what the definition of the plant looks like. And then we'll cut a part of that off of there, and we'll do a taste test on that and see what it tastes like. I'll probably throw this in my, I'm going to make like a lentil stew with lentils. This kind of root goes really good in lentils, but you just want to pre-cook this with your lentils. Cut it up into small cubes and then add it to your lentil. You want to pre-cook it first. You don't want to, look at that, there's some kind of a worm in there. You see that little worm? Hope that ain't a parasite. We don't want to eat parasites here. It could be a parasite. It could be a nematode. Hope that ain't a nematode. But anyway, I'm digressing here. Let me wash this off, and then we will take a better look at it, and then we'll do a taste test on it. Alright, so here it is. I rinsed it off, and now we are left with the big old root. So what you can do is you can cut it right here where you see that root start to get like topped off up here. You can just cut it right there and then plant this back in the ground for seed, which is probably what I'm going to do. I just got to find a place where I can plant it comfortably and where it's not going to get in the way, and I'll probably maybe put it over there on the side and just let it finish its life cycle out so it can give me seed. And I'm going to eat this root, of course, like I told you, in my lentil soups. I'm going to cut it up into small little cubes and then cook it like potato and let it get soft, and then add that to the lentil, and it is delicious. Okay, so that's what it looks like. All right, this one happened to grow bent sideways because I tilled my soil and I dug it up, and I was like, oh, I dug up my parsnip because I let these winter over for better flavor. I dug it up, and then I was like, all right, let me bury it again. And so I reburied it back in that corner over there, and I forgot about it, and I just left it go. And now we got a tree here, and we got the root. And this is what we're after, is that root. Though you can eat the leaves to this too. You can just cut them up and use them like parsley. They don't quite taste as good as parsley, but it does have a nice green taste. And if you take these leaves and use a scissor and chop it up into nice little strips and everything, it actually goes pretty good in your soups or your salsas. Like this almost looks like cilantro right here. And you just put it in there, and it helps add body to your food when you're cooking, because a lot of times if you're cooking soups, if you want that thicker stew flavor, you need things that are going to break down a little bit and give you that thickening type of an agent. Instead of adding flour to your soup to make it thicker, or like a stew, you want that thicker type of broth. I don't like to use flour because it is high in gluten. So what I do is I add these leaves, and I just cook them leaves in the water and everything a little bit longer. Cook them separately in a pot, get them nice and soft. And along with the lentil beans or whatever you're cooking, let them cook separately. Then you combine everything and put your water in it and just bring it to a light boil, and everything comes out nice. Yeah, you can eat the leaves if you want, but this is what we're after. I'm going to cut this off. I'll bring you inside and we'll take a slice off it and we'll do a taste test for you. I'll give you a better look at it. You can see all the roots on here. Now these can get quite big too. If you leave them in the ground over winter and the plant gets really tall and wide, like, because it gets like a rosette the first year and it gets really wide, then let it winter over, these can get big. These can get about the size of a softball, maybe a little bit larger than a softball. They can get quite huge, but this is a small one this year. And generally for me, this is actually all I really need, is something this size for my soups, because I don't really need that much in my soups. I mean, I'm adding all these other ingredients and I end up having to make soup for 2 days instead of 1 day, because there's so many ingredients. I'm not going to cut this in half and put little pieces in there. You know, I'm just going to cut it up, cook it all at once, and then refrigerate enough for the next day or the day after. So that's how I have to do it, based on the size of the vegetables that I get. But yeah, this is a wonderful vegetable. I'll do a taste test and I'll see you inside. Okay, so here we are, and we are going to cut a slice off of that. And I'm going to use my handy dandy Bowie knife, which is very sharp, by the way. I don't have my cutting board down here, so. It's a big knife. And we're going to peel some of this around it off because it just doesn't look that appetizing. It smells really good when you cut this thing. It's very fragrant. So we're going to take a bite off of that, see what it tastes like.
The only thing that seemed different in proportion would be its ears. They looked a little bit small, but they were the same shape as our ears. The only difference was it was short and it was green.
When you saw the eyes, were they human-like? What did the eyes look like?
The eyes, well, like I said,
The texture is very much like a carrot. It's just like chewing a carrot, but a little bit softer. It's not as crispy and hard to chew as carrot is. So the texture is very much the same as eating a carrot. Also, a lot of the flavor effect when you're eating it is very similar to a carrot. It tastes almost like carrot. It almost tastes like parsnip to me, but it's not. I'll take another bite and try to describe the flavor. Trying to swallow this thing, you know. Alright, so if you've ever eaten parsnip, it tastes a lot like parsnip, but it kind of has a little bit of like a carrot type taste to it. It's slightly sweet, and it's very mild. It's not very strong in flavor. It's a very mild flavored vegetable. You could just eat this thing just the way I'm eating it now. You don't even have to cook this and put it in soups or anything. I just like to put them in soups, and it's delicious. You can just, like I say, you can just eat it just like that. Just slice it off and eat what you want right in the field. You don't need to bring that in. It's very soft. It's not as chewy and hard to chew as carrot again, and its flavor is very mild. It's very nice. Now it does have like a slight. It has like its own flavor to it. I can't even describe that to you. I don't know what that would taste like. It kind of has a parsley taste to it. Very aromatic type of flavor. Floral, some people might use that word for it. Has a very floral taste to it. And it doesn't stay. It just kind of comes and goes. It's not spicy like a turnip root or a radish or a rutabaga. It's nice and easy and smooth to eat. Very pleasant, to be honest with you. This is very pleasant. That's why I like to cut it up and put it in my lentil soups, like I've been saying, which is what I'm going to use this for tonight. It also goes good in stir fries too. So if you like to make fried rice, I make fried rice, and the way I make my fried rice, I don't exactly do it with a wok and flip my, singe the food and flip it. I kind of do it by hand and use a spatula and do it that way. But I like to add something like this into it, a root type, and cut it very thin and put them in there and cut it into, bigger squares and mix that into my fried rice. Goes pretty good in there. Other than that, I don't know what else to say about it, but if you've never grown Hamburg parsley, give that a go. It's quite a delicious fruit. It kind of looks intimidating with the roots and all like that. Once you cut all that off and you get to the main bulb part, it's fine. It's just like peeling a potato, really. And you don't really need to cut out like I did. I cut this whole top part off because, it was just unpleasant at that time. Now, if you're somebody who eats fennel, for example, I like to grow and eat fennel. I haven't done a review on the fennels that I grow, but I have grown fennels that were quite huge. And I like the bottom part of the fennel, the root part itself. This reminds me a lot of the root part of the fennel. It has a lot of characteristics of that. So in other words, you have your fennel, comes down, you buy it in the store, you got your fennels branch off, kind of looks like celery a little. And on the very bottom, there's a little bit of the bottom part of the fennel is like that, where they cut it. Well, I like to slice that part up and eat that. I like the taste of that part of the fennel plant. This has a lot of characteristics of that fennel root. If you've never had fennel root or you've never eaten the lower part of the fennel plant, it tastes a lot like that. Well, as far as it's not taste. It's like an aroma that comes out of it. And this does the same thing as like what fennel does. I don't know if that means anything or not, but it does have those characteristics to it. So that's about it. And that was a quick review on the Hamburg parsley. I always call it Hamburg parsnip, but it's not. It's parsley. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.